Hello, everybody. Balls to the Wall, episode number 35. I'm Kenny Matthews and my co-host, Billy Martin Jr. How are you doing, buddy?
I'll tell you, every day is a new adventure, but all is well.
Well, we are sorry that we missed you guys the last 3 weeks. My second job, I had to cover some baseball playoffs and softball state and playoffs here the last couple of weeks, and my schedule was very brutal. So we are back rolling again now that the seasons have been crowned here in the state of Texas on both sides. I am free now with my man, Billy Martin Jr. We'll have Erica C. on here maybe next week. I'd like to get her back in. It's been a long time since she's been on the show. But yes, we missed you guys. I missed my hour of talking with you, Billy. I'm glad things are doing well for you. We do appreciate you guys for listening for us on here on Balls to the Wall. If you could subscribe to us, just hit the like button and make a comment. It can be an emoji of anything of any kind of sorts. Tell us we're great. Tell us we're mediocre. Tell us we're bad. It doesn't matter here. We just want you guys to comment, if you could, on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. That would really help us out a bunch. I know some people have asked in the past how they could help us. That's number one. If you could do that, that would be great. And Billy, it's been a hot spring since it's not officially summer just yet here in the Metroplex. But I will say this, the NBA Finals, it actually has delivered a little bit, even though it seems like most of America is not really tuning in ratings-wise, which I kind of surprised. I thought with Boston on the East Coast and Steph Curry's pull in San Francisco on that side, that we would have had better ratings here in the NBA Finals. But I will say this, since the NBA playoffs were blowout central, at least we've had a couple of compelling games here in the finals, at least, where there was at least some doubt going into the fourth quarter on who was going to win or not. But hey, you have to give Golden State a lot of credit here. I think a lot of people last week when Boston went up 2-1, kind of wrote off those guys out there, and now Golden State's done something in this series that nobody else has done. It's going back-to-back games now. So the pressure lies in on the Celtics tomorrow night in TD Garden. What do you expect is going to happen in that game? Because I have missed the boat on all 5 of them so far.
Yeah, I know it. It'd just be easy to say the home team's going to win because we saw that leading up to this. Man, it's almost been like who gets that big run to me in the second quarter.
Yes.
Going into half for some reason, I feel like I'm trying to figure out where that video is. Come on, we do have one of the premier East Coast teams playing a West Coast team.
Yes.
I mean, I don't quite get it. I mean, it's been great basketball. I mean, look, we're lucky here in Dallas. We get to watch a baby like Luka grow up into the legend he's become. They've got I mean, is this would be
it's and you would think about it this way. You've got an established Hall of Famer, you got a borderline Hall of Famer in San Francisco and Klay Thompson to me, and then you've got one and obviously in Steph Curry. And you may have, potentially 2 Hall of Famers on Boston's team, with them being arguably the most marquee team in the NBA is the Boston Celtics. I mean, I guess the Lakers would have something to say about that themselves, since they both basically got the same amount of championships. I was talking to a friend of mine. Do you think the social issue is the reason that maybe some of people in America have just turned it off, that they're still chasing that guy that bailed out on them when they were in the bubble a couple of years ago, because there's a stance the NBA had with that, and the NBA stance with China, with the human rights there. So we'll talk a little bit about the LIV here later on, same kind of situation. Right. Is America saying, hey, my free time, I'm not going to support something of that nature. I'm just speculating, but I mean, I think it adds some credence to it.
I think I did what you did, because I've heard people say it. I've heard friends say it, acquaintances say it, that they're not watching anymore because of one of those different reasons. And you know what? That's everybody's inalienable God-given right as an American. And maybe they'll come back around, maybe they won't. I don't know. But I did hear one of the more interesting, strange facts, and you and I love digging up strange statistics. But to prove that Tom Brady is the GOAT of all times, did you know that the chances of him taking over an NFL team and winning the Super Bowl are better than Seth Curry making a 3-point?
Wow. Huh. I didn't know that.
NBA history.
Well, funny that you said that, because Curry, for the first time in his career, didn't make a 3-pointer in the finals, game 5. So,
what was up with that?
That's
He
awesome.
must have heard that stat, and it got under his skin so bad that he took it to the game. Wow.
Well, for me, I would ideally Golden State to lose tomorrow night, so we can have a Father's Day night ending on Sunday in a game 7, which would be awesome. I think Boston has shown the ability to go on the road and win. So you just can't say, since game 7 is back in San Francisco, that it's an automatic win for the Golden State in that situation, I don't think. And for me, I don't know if you feel this way or not. As good as Steph Curry has been, I think some of his finals have been a little tainted in this reason alone. They beat Cleveland team that didn't have Kyrie Irving and Love that year playing with them and healthy guys. Then you went and recruited the second best player in the NBA to come to your team that was already loaded in Kevin Durant. So you won 2 titles with Kevin Durant. Curry still doesn't have an MVP finals, trophy yet. I think he needs to solidify this to be considered a top 25 of all time kind of player, because then he'll be 4 rings. This would be his team. He would be the catalyst, I would say, in actually winning something of this nature. But for Boston, if you win tomorrow night, you've got nothing but house money on Sunday at Golden State.
Curry's biggest problem is mouthpiece.
Yes. It
does
the
drive
mouthpiece.
Mouthpiece drives me absolutely crazy.
Well, last thing I will say is this: Draymond Green, it's okay to have all those antics, but can you get some stats in the books every now and then too to go with it? I've been hearing people saying that he's kind of a Hall of Fame kind of player and all this. I said, he's purely a role player, and he plays on the perfect team that does not need his scoring. It's kind of like Dennis Rodman was with the Pistons or with the Bulls. He falls in there. But Draymond Green is not the rebounder that Dennis Rodman was. Draymond Green was not the defensive player that Dennis Rodman was. And he sure didn't have the energy that Dennis Rodman brought every stinking game. So, if Dennis Rodman didn't score, he had 26 rebounds, 3 steals, held his opponent, under his average. Draymond Green right now might be a liability to Golden State at this present time right now.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. When Dennis Rodman was on your team, and I mean, that's the kind of guy everybody wants on their team.
Billy, I hadn't seen a motor like that before Dennis Rodman, and I try to say I'm a historian of the game. And I hadn't seen a motor like Rodman's since he retired. I mean, he's got, to me, the most unique motor that's ever played in the NBA.
Yeah, because the other guys that were like that at all were just bit players.
Yeah. How many 6'8", 6'9" guys run like they're 6'1" guards? It's not very around. It's not. And I would love to say he took care of his body off the field.
No, that's not true. I mean, he the same time that Jeff Fry was at that school, and there.
Oh gosh. Well, hey, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow night. It should be a good game. I mean, you're thinking about it. In the next couple of weeks, baseball is going to be the only showcase sport on for a while until preseason football. So, you naysayers that say you hate the game of baseball, you better enjoy the next couple of weeks here of hockey and basketball, because it's going to be all baseball for a while. And so, but anyhow, I did want to go to the Stanley Cup. I wanted to make a couple of points on that. First, I want to say the heart of a champion in Tampa Bay Lightning. I thought the Rangers had them down for the rights in Game 3 back at Tampa Bay. They had the 2-1 lead there. They could have put them under the mat going up 3-0. They allowed Tampa to score and then the win in overtime in Game 2. That gave the defending Stanley Cup champs that will to win. And boom, did they impose that the rest of the way with 3 straight, winning at New York in Madison Square Garden, which they hadn't lost a game in Madison Square Garden, I believe, since early in the Pittsburgh series. Kudos to them, and I say this for a reason. Nobody talks about Steven Stamkos. He might be the best underrated superstar in the game. Nobody ever talks about that guy. They've won 11 series in a row, Billy. That just doesn't happen. I mean, they'd be the first team to win 3 Stanley Cups in a row since 1982, and that was the New York Islanders. I mean, that's pretty good in this free agency days. Yeah.
And you're there for, has anybody ever won 4?
Yeah, Islanders did. They won 4 in that range. So they won from 1980 to 84. But even the Islanders, they even got to the finals that 5th year. You want to talk about dominance. They ended up losing to Edmonton, a young Wayne Gretzky crew that year in 85. But I mean, that's right. Just unreal to think that, you could win 4 cups in a row, then turn around and get to the finals the following year. I mean, Al Arbor had a pretty good team back in the 80s. Those New York Islanders did. Not bad. But I wish this would have been a question that I will ask Billy Martin Sr. one day. How hard is it to repeat? Because he's done it a few times. And I know the era is a little different. I get all that other stuff, but I know they played for getting to the World Series so they can survive the offseason. So I understand that there was more incentive for them as opposed to the athlete today to, his season's over. He's not going to go be a State Farm insurance guy. He's going to State Farm to go get a commercial deal. But I would love to know how, those great Yankee teams are being able to do it. There's a few constants. Billy's a constant. Jamasio's a constant. Mickey Mantle's a constant and all that. How were you able to ratchet up and take everybody's best shot the next year and still come up on top?
Well, one advantage they had back then was in all different rounds. You won there, You literally had 4, 5, 6 or
Yeah.
they play 30 more games. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
As you said, it was
Yeah.
And it's nothing. It's a tip.
Right.
I mean, more than
Absolutely.
They don't get paid anymore for it, really. And so you're tired after the World Series. You're a bunch of those guys didn't get an all-star break because they were all-stars. You know, they don't get the normal off season to go home and hang with their family and go to the deer lease and chill out. It's a grind. And those players are all blowing up at the same time too. So the team's got to turn around and I think for a multitude of reasons. Baseball, you can't be great at this game and not have the heart of a lion and not have the ability to play your best when the lights rise, to give it your all. And because that's always, you know, I think it's playing a way bigger role than it ever has in keeping guys out of Hall of Fame.
Sure.
That, you know, obviously,
Sure.
We're also talking about two guys who really struggled in the postseason their first couple of cracks at it, you know, and they're big
Mm-hmm.
who
Alex Rodriguez.
And we'll see. Oh, they changed. He's Hall of Fame as well, you know, as a manager. So it's like, oh.
Well, I think the only people that care about World Series purses now are clubhouse managers. Or the guy, oh, I take that back. The guy that's the 25th guy that got called up, you know, in August, you know, been on a two-way deal. Means a lot to that guy if they can get that World Series purse at the end of October. You know, it means a lot to that guy. But as for 95% of that team, that money is pocket money to them. So it really doesn't mean much. But that clubhouse manager, he sure likes it because he gets some good tips off of that.
That's I just realized after all these years, I think my father may have something that's never happened before. And I would love for anybody listening who can tell me if I'm right or wrong, because I've baseball story and tried it out. My father got 2 hits in his first 2 at-bats in the major league. He got put in the 8th inning in Fenway. He said that and he beat the Red Hot, so he put in.
Wow. Wow.
And Person in baseball history.
Wow. He's got he's got a lot of bullet points. Your dad's got a lot of bullet points associated with his name, doesn't he? Maybe one or two, just maybe. We do appreciate you guys, listeners on Balls and Wall, episode number 35. We appreciate if you guys would like us and subscribe and hit the like button on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. That would help us out. Make a comment down there. We appreciate that dearly. And that way we'll try to bring you some content to you guys we think you will appreciate. I did want to go through some balls and strikes with you just a little bit. We'll just kind of go through these quickly here. I was thinking about Cardinals pitcher Miles Nicholas last night. In the second game of a doubleheader against my beloved Buccos, one strike away from a no-hitter. The reason I'm bringing this up, I actually liked the post-game interview he had yesterday. He was pissed off. He didn't get it. You get that guy that goes, yeah, I was kind of close. I was hoping to get this. He's being real diplomatic. Miles was not. He was pissed. He said he wanted that damn no-hitter last night. So I like a little dose of reality sometimes.
Swing and miss. Man. Angry for a second. You want to see him get it together, but that was real emotion.
Yes,
I don't think I want to go
I did love that. I loved it tremendously. I want to go over a couple of injury notes here. We did get the disalarming news on Fernando Tatis. His wrist is not completely healed, so he's not going to be able to swing for a little bit longer. Practice swings right now. Padres obviously have done extremely well without him in the lineup. So I'm not sure, if that's really going to kill their season. It's going to be a big boost when obviously he comes back to play. But I was wanting to say this a little bit here. If you're a Padre fan, are you a little disheartened a little bit because of how he injured his wrist in the offseason? Getting in that motorcycle accident, that's a no-no in pro contracts, not to be doing that, or skiing in the offseason, things of that nature. Are you a little upset that he hasn't been in the lineup because of that? You could deal with an injury in the gym, an injury on the field, getting hit by a ball. But, if you're being Evel Knievel and you have an injury in the offseason that affects you during the season, I would be a little miffed, to say the least.
Well, you think about this. That's a breach of contract.
Should be.
Absolutely. He's not allowed to go speedlunking. Okay? I remember it was kind of funny. One of the Raiders I was there that day thinking, he's obviously not really and he's very lucky. On some main things in one inning.
Yeah. You kind of buffered there. I couldn't hear the last part. It kind of buffered a little bit there. What was the last part you said?
Hit 2 grand slams in the same inning off the same pitcher.
Shan-Ho Park.
I'm thinking as a manager, after he did the first one, I'm at least changing the pitcher, right? I'm bringing in the soft toss and lefty, doing something a little different. But hey, Skip, he who's 22 years old, and his father formed
Yeah.
pretty amazed at who they were out.
Yeah.
And they get Blake Snell back.
Yeah, that's the enigma right now. I mean, that was a guy that was pitching flawlessly in a World Series Game 6 just 2 years ago. Man, he hasn't thrown many strikes since, buddy. It's just, you thought he was going to go to the National League with the pitcher, in the lineup. You thought it'd be, less strenuous for him to get through lineups, and he's not missing balls. He's not missing bats, excuse me. I know it's in between the ears. He's got $1 million arm for sure. And I just don't. You feel bad for the guy because, he's so young still, and he can figure it out pretty quick. He can get back on track for that next big contract. But if it lingers like this, are you going to dump a whole lot of money and a whole bunch of years into him going forward? Is he a 2-3 year kind of pitcher going forward, on contracts? It's an enigma to me.
Well, like I say all the time, the analytics I want to know are right here, right between their ears. And
he's got the yips there right now.
Yeah.
He does.
But you just brought it up. Has not the same. The same. We're all screaming at the TV. The people that were laughing were Mookie Betts and you standing there on that. Right. That was wrong.
Yep.
How that is? Yeah, look at that law season. But it wasn't his choice. I mean, but we don't know what goes on in there.
No, you don't. And you feel bad. I feel really bad for that situation happened because, he was a Yankee killer when he was with Tampa Bay. Believe me, I was going, can we scratch 2 off of that guy and hold them to 1 is what I was hoping for, or get that son of a gun out of the game in the 7th. I remember he made his major league debut on a Saturday afternoon at the Yankee Stadium when he was with Seattle. I remember that day very well. You just hate to see people deal with that. And I think that this year has been really talked about as the year of the injury to the starting pitchers. I wanted to talk about, Chris Sale maybe coming back here in a couple of weeks. That's a starting pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. I mean, that's your day 1 starter. They're thinking about bringing him out of the bullpen, Billy, because of his injury history that he's had and everything is going on. Now, Boston's turned their season around after a horrific start. I think at one time they were 14 and a half games behind the Yankees in May. You would think that Chris Sale comes in and gives you a shot at the arm, but if you're going to bring him out of the bullpen, I don't know if it's that legitimate shot that you thought you were going to get.
I'm going to say everything the guy don't know what next. Look, she just all the time on pay.
Right.
Over and let him do it, then let him go 4 innings. Then let's score.
He's a starter.
Take out of his No, it was never.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's no John Smoltz. He's a starter. But that herky motion, the way it has, can you imagine getting him up several times during a week to warm up, do whatever he's got to do to get ready, didn't come in? That's completely out of his resume. Well, remember, a lot of the baseball experts talked about his motion when he came into the league, saying it was going to bring a lot of injuries. We've been seeing the last 3 years, there's been a lot of injuries from Chris Sale.
And when you're that skinny, there are just certain guys whose body aren't built for the arm speed they have. I hang out with a guy named Tanner Shepard, who he's nearly older. And had a nice career. Man, he had a little bit more and you wouldn't miss on Chris Sale. If you put it on that guy, you'd hardly notice it. But man, I keep a lot healthier. I mean, his chance are a little out there, but I think if you could add weight, figure it out.
Yeah, he doesn't have the Billy Wagner or Nolan Ryan thighs. No, he doesn't. Well, speaking of another starting pitcher, the LA Dodgers, their ace, Walker Buehler, he had a bone spur removed from his elbow yesterday. Time frame still about 8 weeks. Wasn't it about this time last year, Billy, we talked about all the depth of the starting pitcher that the LA Dodgers had, and in just one short calendar year, they're looking for maybe possibly 2 starters at the trade deadline coming up here. Reese has not pitched very well for them. I know they're waiting for the guy that's the local kid, the redheaded kid, that's Tommy John. I know they're waiting for him to come back, but can you really count on him going into, deep in the games coming off Tommy John? You don't have Bauer. You don't have, you just got Kershaw back. You don't have, Scherzer. There's a lot of change in that starting lineup. That was a backbone of your world championship the year before, and obviously last year was the backbone of your team. Dodgers are in the market. There's just no question about it because Walker Buehler, even if he comes back in 2 months, you can't push the envelope with that.
Basically out of nowhere, just stepped up and is in the top 5 statistically, behind Nestor Cortez and some other crazy anomalies that are up there right now that they still have guys like that just jumping out of nowhere. And and I credit most of it to a guy named Jerry Hunsaker, who was
Right.
And there, after he got stabbed in the back, he went straight from there after making that answer one of the better answers.
Yep. Yep.
Austin, and turn to the bargain basement juggernaut they are now.
Right.
But he only doesn't get credit.
Right. Yep. 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 My last thing I wanted to say about the baseball is it does look, well, at least it does look good for the Mets, is that Jacob deGrom and Matt Scherzer will be coming back to the lineup sooner than later. Buck Showalter obviously has done a terrific job not having those two aces in the lineup and still increasing your lead. But you better watch out. The defending champions seem to have turned it around against some bad teams here lately and ran off a 12-game winning streak here for themselves. But they lost one of your favorites, Albies, who fractured his foot yesterday. It's going to be out for a period of time. I haven't heard the number, but I'm assuming at least probably a couple of weeks for a fractured foot. You know, you're thinking. Didn't look good the way he got out of the box at all. You know, it's just strange how it really all happened. You know, felt bad for him. But, you know, I know a lot of people are writing off the defending champs in May, and they said, you know what, we still got something left here in the tank a little bit. But, and people are making fun of who they beat. But Billy, you and I'll be the first ones getting on them if they went 6-6 against those teams. You know, you still got to go out and beat teams just because you're much better than them.
And come on, man, it's baseball.
Right.
It's in the NFL. I mean, today in baseball.
Absolutely.
And your terrible team, the Bad News Bears can beat a college team on the right day.
Absolutely. Well, hey, my beloved Buccos went into Chavez Ravine and swept them. They haven't won since.
they used up all their
we do appreciate you listening to us, guys, here on Balls of the Wall, episode number 35. I would like to try to go ahead and end it with the LIV tour here, Billy. I know you got some hard opinions on that, and I do myself. The LIV golf tour obviously is run by the Saudi Arabians. They have ponied up some major cashola to get some people from the PGA Tour that will be on their tour. I believe they said they're going to have about 20 events on their tour, something of that nature going forward. They're giving Phil Mickelson at least $200 million. I know some people said it's more than that to come overboard. Gave people the likes of Dustin Johnson $30 million to come aboard. I think the biggest problem that most people have is that the Saudi Arabians, obviously, with their human rights issues, kind of like China. You know, the Saudi Arabian money is bottomless, to say the least. You know, I mean, that's, you know, when you're talking about pockets, you're not going to find many bigger than the Saudi Arabians, you know, that are out there. So I'm not sure what their goal is here, to make money, or is it just to actually be a viable identity in the golf world with this tour and use some of Trump's golf courses in the process. For me, Billy, here it is for me. If I want to watch rich men make money, I'll just go to Glen Eagles and caddy. You know, I just don't need to see multi-millionaires that have got 60 or 80 or 90 million dollars that they earned on the PGA Tour go out to all these golf courses that have zero history to me. You know, I mean, a Trump course in New Jersey does absolutely nothing for me on a historical basis at all. You know, it just, you know, go to the TPC, go to the Masters, you know, you go to Wingfield, you go to these places here that I've seen since I've been 10 or 8 years old. That means something to me. The other things, it does not. And I just don't quite understand why you would give up legacy as opposed to just fighting just for greed of money.
Well, if they would have consulted with the wall staff, my response would have been this: don't pay Phil Mickelson or anybody to play. Make your purses so ridiculously, insanely large that they all go anyway. I don't see you sing that 17-foot putt with 200 million on the line. With that ball, I don't want to see paid off. I don't want to see what these guys do when they're playing at their own country club, because that's all it's going to feel like to Phil Mickelson. Going, there we go. He's making many us. Me, come on, we're not we straightened up at the end of the day. He's never having some tough finishes.
Absolutely.
Right? So now, I mean, now he's probably going to win all those. He's going to go
right. Now, I know that they get to play for the majors still, it looks like, you know, at least maybe for this year. I'm not sure going forward a little bit. So I understand a little bit of that. I can play the events that I really want to. But you're going to try to tell me that that pressure putt in Wyoming on July 23rd, did you beat Rory? You know, you beat Sergio on the 18th hole on a Saturday afternoon is going to get me to have my eyes trying to watch that? There's no way in hell. I mean, I don't care if somebody pulled it up and gave it to me for free. I'm not watching it. So if I'm a golf guy, I actually watch it on the weekends. I don't want to watch it. How are you going to captivate a zero audience? That's what I want to know. And what's the end route here? You know, I mean, is it so you can show you throwing around big money? Okay. When does that novelty rub off? Like Sunday? You know, I mean, I legitimately were getting notifications on my phone, golf results for the first weekend in this tournament. And I kept going, why? I can care less. I mean, I really do. I said, US Open, give me every notification possible. You can't out notification me on the US Open. I said, I want my phone blowing up. But I got those, I just laughed, and my laughs got larger and larger the more updates I got from that tour results last week.
The whole point of all is
yeah.
Cadillac, in the background. That's taken away if these guys are getting a salary to just go play. Come on.
Think about this, Billy. Just 3 years ago, you can make a case that Phil Mickelson was the second most popular guy on the PGA Tour, and he was close to Tiger. He was close to Tiger. That gap was not that big between those two guys. He has tarnished his legacy beyond repair now. I mean, I almost feel bad for him squeamishly trying to find the right words to say in these press conferences about it, especially when they ask him about the 9/11 stuff and all that other stuff. You can see he's sweating. You can see he's trying to calculate what to say to not further damage an already damaged reputation now for $200 million, because rumored to have major gambling, debts. And that's pushing his foot out the door to accept $200 million. One is enough first. You can't take it to heaven or hell with you, that money. You can't do any of that. So the only thing you can do is your reputation. And you spent 50 years trying to get it to where it was at, and it took you a whole day to ruin that. It's crazy.
We're not disclosing the amount of money.
Right.
We're just saying he's joining this tour because they're going to have bigger purses. And what he wants to do. He wants to do something brand new, and here we are.
I'm mystified. I guess it would be different if I hadn't made any money and they offered me that kind of jack. Then you go, okay, I can see that. But when you've been with the PGA Tour all those years and all the money that you've made has been because of the PGA Tour, that's where I have an issue. That's, the root of, they say the money's the root of all evil. Greed is a mother, and it has a way of coming. What comes around goes around a whole lot in that situation. And when you do things entirely for money, sometimes it has a way of biting you in the ass. You've been there, you've been that in the business world. I've done that in the business world. And you just say, you know what? We should have left that money on the table. It wasn't worth the aggravation. But I guess $200 million is a good reason to go, huh? The only one that's smiling the hardest is the United States government. They got $100 million coming to them. Go, Phil, go, is what I hear President Biden saying right now.
Paid to him.
Right.
Is he going to go there? I mean,
Man, it's so good. It's unreal. Well, hey guys, I'm gonna let you know the last 3 weeks was a void in my life, not doing balls to the wall. I know we've had some health issues between Billy and ourselves with our moms, and my schedule got a little busy. So I do appreciate you guys being patient with us. We'll be back rolling with you guys on a week basis here. Like I said, we'll have Erica C with us next week as a guest. Anyhow, Billy, I appreciate you getting us in here today. I know tomorrow's a big day for you. We got the MLB draft. So good luck with that tomorrow, and all of your clients and all of your prospects go higher than expected and sign for bigger than expected signing bonuses range is what I'm allocations. I want to hear a whole lot of, the allocation here was supposed to get in the 4th round. Well, we'll put him on the 2nd round basis. We'll hit him on 1st round money. Let somebody else take less than allocated than your clients tomorrow. I know you're going to have a busy couple days, so man, plow through it. I know you'll do well behind your clients. I know they appreciate you, and I definitely appreciate you being on here today, man, buddy. Balls to the wall, episode number 35 in the books. We'll see you guys next week.